Namo Narayan, everybody. This is Sannyasi Shivani coming to you from Ishtadev Niwas Ashram in the Persal Mountains and the unceded territory of the Tinahan Nation. Um, Here to talk to you today about the full moon on the 17th of January. Are you ready? Here we go. So it's going to be at 11:50 p.m. GMT, which is 4:50 p.m. MST, so Mountain Standard Time. It's at 27 degrees. Now, I want you to remember this number, 27 degrees and 50 minutes in Cancer. The moon is in Cancer, which means the sun is going to be opposite at 27 degrees and 50 minutes in Capricorn. At the time of this full moon, with the moon in Cancer, and the moon rules Cancer, so it's a very emotional, but it's very at home, family orientated kind of time. And with the sun is going to be conjunct Pluto. So there's going to be like this feeling of what do you need to leave behind? What is ready to be set free? What is ready to be disentangled from? And the sun is also going to be sextile the south node and trined the north node at the time of this full moon. And what that means is that we can really look at the south node, the opportunities of what can we leave behind, and really come into the beautiful trine energy of where are we going. So we need to be really objective with our emotions at this time because the moon in Cancer can get fairly emotional. Okay, but the key I think here is to keep calm. Keep calm, witness Pluto. Okay, keep calm, witness the power of transformation. Okay, transformation is going to happen. We need to witness ourselves and experience ourselves in each moment with the clarity that allows us to be the beings we have always been, the potential beings we have always been, without being thrown about by the emotions. So really kind of check in with that, which of course intention is so important. Who do you want to be? Who are you when things are balanced? And then as transformation comes and things get let go of and yada yada yada, it gives you a really beautiful opportunity to, in this moment, am I still connecting to that intention? In this moment, am I still connecting to that intention? In this moment, am I still connecting into that intention? Because the tendency that is potential tendency at this full moon with these alignments is to, if something's ready to be let go of, is to kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. And we really don't want to do that, okay? Sometimes we get so attached to things that as something leaves, we just destroy everything from an emotional place, okay? We destroy relationships instead of letting go of behaviors. Okay, and so I really don't want you to throw the baby out with the bathwater because the energy is going to be there for that to happen. So we really need to connect to what is it that I am letting go of? What is it that needs to transform? And does that need to be a complete state of destruction for that to happen? And I'm hoping that the answer is no in many cases. Okay, also at the time of this full moon, because the sun is conjunct with Pluto, as I've already mentioned, Pluto has got its own thing going on. And Pluto is in a cardinal grand cross. Sounds big because it is, okay? Pluto is in a cardinal grand cross with Eris, who is the kick-ass rebel, will stand up. She's Durga, basically. She will cut through the darkness to bring through the light. She protects the children. She protects the minorities. Everybody will be heard. Everybody will be accounted for. Everybody will be loved. And anything that stands in her way of that happening is going to get their butt kicked. This is the energy of Eris, and she's in Aries, which is her brother's house. So she's very comfortable here and is willing to do what needs to be done. Okay, so really connect to Durga at this full moon. Really connect to that energy of fierce mother, feminine warrior that will protect what needs to be protected and will do what needs to be done. And so Eris in Aries, okay, is squared with Pluto in Capricorn, which is top down energy, which is in a very deep state of transformation right now, teed over to Hermea, which is the Hawaiian goddess of fertility. She can take a desolate, annihilated, toxic place and birth new life into it. She can take the aspects that are completely dead to us and birth life off each part of her body into balance and into abundance. And as this lunar cycle goes on, Hermea and Pluto are going to get into a tighter and tighter square. So don't forget. Okay, I think this is people forget this sometimes. They think the Shiva energy, the Pluto energy is all about letting go, but it's not all about letting go. You can't keep inhaling. You've got to exhale. You've got to let go because the next breath needs to come through. And so whenever there's a letting go, whenever there's the Shiva energy of deep transformation, this Pluto energy, and yes, I'm using Shiva and Pluto almost synonymously because that is the frequency that we are in this year. So let's embrace it. We're not destructing or destroying or transforming into a lack. We are learning to let go of that which is no longer vibrating at the frequency that is at our healthiest, at our potential, at where we can be, so that the higher frequencies, the new energy, the new relationships can come in. There's beauty, there's birth happening. It's not about letting go. It's about making space so the new can come in. And so this is what this Eris, Pluto, Hermea, Cardinal Grand Cross is doing. It is fearlessly saying, this is outdated, we're done, moving along, and this is where we're moving along to. So it's, I think, honestly, I'm like super excited, and I realize that that could change in 20-minute increments, and that's okay. But I think it's a really exciting time. It's a really beautiful time. And the more there is Sangha, the more there is collective, the more there is community. Everybody's going to go up and down in the level of apprehension or fear or encouragement or excitement or towards or backwards. And like we all experience the full gamut of emotions and the full gamut of uncertainty and courageousness and everything. But if we are connected with our Sangha, if we are connected with our community, with people who are also authentically trusting this process and having the full gamut of experiences, that on those challenging days, you can connect and you can entrain back into a neutrality of thy will, of we can do this. This is what we came for. You know, I was actually speaking to my teacher the first time in a few years this week. And she said, we've spent 20 years preparing for the beginning. And we had a good giggle about how dense we must have been 20 years ago when she was actively my teacher, how dense we were, that it's taken us 20 years to get to the place where we are ready for the beginning. But that's really, it's funny because it's true. And we have been preparing for this, and it's here. And it's not the time to hide in meekness. It's not the time to doubt. That not doubting doesn't mean you don't experience fear. It doesn't mean you don't experience the uncertainty. It doesn't mean you don't experience it all. It just means you're quickly to come back to that center of trust in yourself, in your journey, that this is why we're here. And so it's so exciting, and beautiful, completely beautiful. So that is all on the full moon on the 17th. Now, don't forget, the moon moves actually into Pisces on the 15th. So that 15th to 17th time period is going to be super important for kind of like setting the stage for how these energies are going to be navigated. Okay. Because then on the 18th, we're straight into this Saturn Uranus echo again. Okay, so on the 18th, so again, I want you to understand that in the way that the chart is right now, all of the aspects, all of the planets are kind of sitting mostly, for the most part, sort of between Capricorn and Cancer. So there's not a lot of aspects actually sitting between Cancer and Capricorn. So as the moon moves from the full moon on the 17th towards the new moon in early February, we're not hitting a lot of conjunction energy. We're hitting a lot of opposition energy. Now, opposition energy in my brain always goes, oh my God, that's going to be negative and push me, pull you in that. But then I remember my marriage. And Param Jyoti and I are completely opposite in so many aspects. And it can create tension and it can create adversity when you're both trying to do the same thing at the same time, but because you're going about it in opposite ways, it can create that tension. However, if you're clear on what is the strengths of each aspect, so for example, on the 18th, the moon is going to be opposite Saturn, which is conjunct with Mercury, which is going to be in retrograde. Okay, so you know the moon is going to be in a really feeling place, and Mercury in retrograde can have trouble understanding, doesn't really have like full cognitive strength going on, right? So, and Saturn's strength is holding the status quo. Now, so if you can understand the strengths of both sides, you can use them to complement each other, to complete each other. And this is really what Param Jyoti and I have found over many years of marriage and trial and error, is that our opposites is not a point of contention, but a beautiful aspect of completion, and that I don't have to be everything, and his strengths are mirror my weaknesses, and my strengths really mirror his blind spots. So together we've got like such a huge capacity for love and transformation and creation and harmony. And so you've really, I think the clarity on what the strengths are and where the blind spots are and what the tendencies are is key to learning how to use oppositions as a point of completion and complement rather than tension. So trust me, if we can go through between the full moon and the new moon with a sense of how can I use these oppositional energies to experience a fuller, more complete, more abundant experience as a human, we'll be able to really use it as a beautiful amplification. So on the 18th, the moon is going to be opposite Saturn, which is all about like the status quo, reality, karma, what needs to happen as opposed to what wants to happen, what needs to happen, and it's conjunct with Mercury in retrograde, which, doesn't understand. It's like if I said to you, like, Saturn is like the sun rises in the east, and somebody's like, Mercury's like, does it? Does it really? I don't understand. Can it? Does it actually rise in the east? Is that the way it always has to be? Is that the way it always has been? And the brain kind of gets a little like, I don't know what to believe in this. I don't know what is just the status quo of what always has been, or what is the potential for something new, something we haven't thought of. It's not really the time for thinking outside of the box, because with Mercury being conjunct Saturn, the box is going to look pretty comfortable. Okay, Mercury, which is our sense of understanding in retrograde, is going to be squared Uranus, which is the future and let's go, and also our nervous system. So with Mercury and Saturn being squared Uranus, it could be an anxiety-provoking time that you can't think your way out of. And this is where we need to lean into the strength of the moon, of being able to feel our way into the moment rather than thinking our way into the moment. Okay, so that's on the 18th. So moon is squared Uranus, moon is opposite Saturn and Mercury and Saturn are squared Uranus. So again, we have this other like grand T, this full T square, which is pretty intense. Okay, but that's on the 18th. On the 21st, just flipping back to my notes. On the 21st, the moon is going to move opposite Jupiter, which is in really good relationship to Vesta, which is harmony. So on the 21st, we're really going to be able to potentially feel this amplification of harmony. So this day, the 21st, mark it on your calendar. Do not hesitate to make things better. If opportunity arises on the 21st, take it. The energy for harmony, the energy for balance, the energy for benefic amplification is there. So absolutely jump at it, especially if you've had a couple of challenging days the days before. The 21st has got a really beautiful alignment with the moon opposite Jupiter, which is sextiled with Vesta. Okay, which means an opportunity. So opportunity strikes, go for it. So on the 21st of January, right on your calendar, go for it. Okay, on the 22nd, the moon is going to be heading towards Jupiter. Now, don't forget, on the 12th of April, we're going to have a Jupiter, which is the old ruler of Pisces, conjunct with Neptune in Pisces, which is the new ruler of Pisces. Just think huge, expansive possibilities of the dream, of psychic ability, of the whole galaxy opening, and also the potential for huge amounts of water. So just be mindful of that. So on the 22nd, we've got the moon is opposite Neptune. Okay. And at the same day, Lilith is squared Neptune. Mars is squared Neptune. Okay. and Lilith is still going to be opposite Mars. So this day of Neptune opposite the moon with Mars and Lilith in there, that's got a day that could have an edge of some frustration about what we don't know, about what we're presuming because of Neptune and Lilith there. There can be a lot of presumptions. So we don't really want to like hook into presumptions as truth. Really investigate, slow down, do your detective work, okay? And your intuition is potentially going to be super heightened. So we want to, take what your sensors are telling you, and use your discernment to cognitively question. And then balance that off your intuition and your perceiving, not your emotional feeling, but your perceiving, bringing the intuition up into the heart. And that should stead you pretty good with what is going to be right action. Okay. Oh, just to go back to the 18th again. Sorry, I really don't like it when I have to go back and forth like this, but here we are. On the 18th, Uranus in Taurus is going to be hours away from going station, which means that if you think of a huge tanker going forward and then it needs to go backwards, it's about to go into retrograde. Think of the amount of force and power it needs to slow down its momentum going forward so that it can go back. And so that amount of force and power is going to be what Uranus is going to be embodying on the 18th. Okay, on the 18th of February is also the day that the nodes are going to move into our new 18-month cycle. This full moon, dudes, sorry, I just totally duded you. I didn't mean to. This full moon is epic. It's epic. And we gotta like be aware and be cognitive of the epicness of it, and then soften into the simplicity of being kind, being loving, being generous, being a good listener, taking care of your words. While being aware that there is a lot happening and potentially a lot of overwhelm happening. I don't know. I am like aware of the overwhelm, and I'm aware that it potentially could be a complete and utter shit show. And I just can't help but be really excited. Right? Because the nodes are going to move into Scorpio and Taurus. It's a new cycle, right? And on the 18th, when this big energy of Uranus is happening, this huge amount of force, okay, this tanker slowing down to move retrograde, that's going to be a really interesting time if we look at Earth events, earthquakes, volcanoes, galactic events, shocking human-wise, shocking earth-wise, shocking technology-wise. I just want you to be really aware, like 18th of January, 17th of January, 18th of January, big days. Maybe not like plan a whole bunch of stuff those days, because it really sucks when you have to cancel. But just keep it simple. Keep those days simple so that you can ride whatever needs to be ridden. Okay, so then on the 20th, which is the day before the moon is opposite Jupiter with the Vesta and the harmony and the opportunity and everything, Mars is actually going to be conjunct with the galactic center, which is 27. Oh, there's that number again. 27, which is a 2 and a 7, which is a 9. Have I lost you? I hope I haven't lost you. You may have to listen to this a couple of times. There's a lot of information in here, but it's all such good stuff. The 27th degree of Sagittarius. Huge day for portals to open. Huge day. And of course, then the next day, we've got the Jupiter Vesta. So, like, 17th, 18th, potential shit shows. 20th, 21st, potential delicious. Okay? If you're going to simplify it down to that. I think I've like sort of on the 26th, I'm gonna skip a couple just because I don't want you to get too overwhelmed. You're like, I'm already there. I love you. On the 26th of January, Moon is going to be opposite Uranus, which of course is going to echo the 18th. So because it's that Uranus, earthquakes, big energy squared with Saturn, blah, 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 blah. You've heard me say it a million times. But on the 26th, we're going to get an echo of that 18th. So mark it on your calendar. The 26th, what happened on the 18th? Prepare for a echo of that on the 26th. Okay. And then on the 27th, the moon is actually going to be conjunct and opposite the nodes, of course, because the nodes are also always opposite each other, which of course changed signs the week before on that 18th. So the 17th, 18th, the 26th, and the 27th are like two pairs of the same energies. So don't get through the 17th and 18th and go like, woohoo, scot-free. Like, understand that what brewed or what was seeded on those days could bloom on the 26th, 27th. Okay. And then on the 29th, Venus is going to go direct. Okay, because right now it's in Mercury, which is why we're questioning our values and questioning what's important and questioning where is our love and what is our relationship to the earth. But on the 29th of January, Venus is going to go direct in Capricorn. And then, of course, then we're straight into heading towards the Venus-Pluto conjunct, which happened on the Christmas day. As again, it's either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I always get the two mixed up. Anyway, sorry about that. On the 3rd of March. So, yeah. That 29th, the same day as Venus is going direct, Mars is going to be conjunct with the moon. So here is the first time we're hitting an amplification rather than an opposite. Okay. And it's also going to be conjunct with Vesta. And so the 29th, this energy, because of Vesta again, is going to echo what we experienced 21st, 22nd, right? When we were hitting that Neptune, Jupiter, Vesta energy. So again, we've got that delicious, okay, energy being echoed, but very expansive with Neptune and Pisces, very expansive and reactionary with Mars. So don't, the analogy of, because you never would anyway, just don't drink and drive. All right. It's the kind of energy where you can literally go into a boundless hole, a very expansive state where you lose concentration on what you're doing. So maybe not do heavy machinery that day would be a good thing to do. On the 30th of January, the moon is going to be conjunct with Vesta and Venus, which is now direct, and trined with Uranus. This is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Love it. Try your luck on that day. Get a lotto ticket. You know, tell somebody you love them for the first time. It's a great day to just give it. Just give it your all. Okay, and then on the 31st, when the moon is conjunct with Pluto, we look all the way back to the 17th. And at that moment, you will realize whether or not you threw out the baby with the bathwater, or if you were able to consciously let go of that which was no longer serving you. So, because you've made space for the new moon to come through next. So, this is a big, big time. And frankly, I'm going to go between now and May, it's all going to be a big time. I would really encourage you to have some extra food in the house, extra pasta, extra coconut milk if you use coconut milk. I bought a case of coconut milk last week. Have some extra food in the house. Imagine you were going to be feeding some extra people for a while, and them showing up is not going to throw you into a panic of, I don't have enough. Have enough. Live into the abundance of what is there. Make sure you're doing your meditation practices, your spiritual practices. Lean into that. Explore your galactic energies. Right now, the field of remembrance is so huge, so huge. And Lilith is still playing a part in there of like the unknown, and with opposite Mars, which personally I'm really kind of feeling that. There's questions I have and things I want to remember, but I can't quite remember, and that's frustrating. But so much is coming through of what there is to remember. But remember, this moment is perfection. This moment of how much you are stepping into and calibrating into the deliciousness of your fullness is exactly where we're supposed to be. Together, loving, kind, grateful, courageous, humble, curious, and present. So, if you have questions, if there's things you've heard in this that you don't understand, please write a comment, write a question, subscribe, share it with somebody. Now is the time. It's time to share. It's not time to wonder what somebody's going to think of having this information. It's time for them to have the information and let them think for themselves. So please share this if it resonates with you, and really, dance, smile, dream, love, the one that I am.